Good morning, fellas, and welcome back to Me Plays Games, where we play games. My name is Matt, and today we're diving into yet another Pokemon game. This time we're heading to the Sinnoh region to take a look at the Pokemon Diamond and Pearl speedrun. The world record in this game belongs to Crafted at 3 hours, 41 minutes, 46 seconds. Fun fact, that time is within 2 seconds of the Pokemon X and Y record. Anyway, we'll be looking into the route and techniques used in this run, and I'll also link some resources in the description if you want to learn more about the run. For more speedrunning videos, subscribe to Me Plays Games. Alright, let's get started. If you look at the world record video, you'll notice that it starts in the DS's time and date settings. Like New Super Mario Bros., this is part of an RNG manipulation. In this game, the manipulation accomplishes a few things. For one, it eliminates unwanted wild Pokemon encounters, and it also allows you to catch a Chansey holding a lucky egg. The first part of the manipulation involves you setting the time to 8:57 on May 22nd, 2098, starting the game at a specific time, then also timing an A press on this TV broadcast after the whole "Welcome to the World of Pokemon" spiel. You also need to do very specific movement for the manip to work, which is why you'll see runners walk back and forth over and over a few times if you watch the full record. Runners will make sure that they did the manip correctly by either checking their trainer ID or seeing how the NPCs outside their house move. It's also worth noting that you should pick the girl Dawn as your player character. This is because whichever character you don't pick becomes Professor Rowan's assistant, and in that role the male character Lucas talks less. Side note, I think it's pretty cool that they put every character to good use in every playthrough in Hoenn and Sinnoh, regardless of which gender character you pick. In these games, the other character is the professor's assistant, and in Hoenn they become your rival. Your starter Pokemon for the game is going to be Chimchar. It'll also be your main battling Pokemon for the entire game. Chimchar evolves into Infernape, a fire fighting type Pokemon that also gets access to Grass Knot. Using only one Pokemon is best for speedruns because there's only so much experience to go around with how few optional trainers you battle. By the end of the game, Infernape will be level 70. While we make our way through the early game, let's talk a little bit about how the AI in this game works. Unlike a lot of other Pokemon games, trainers pick their moves at random like wild Pokemon, so they won't necessarily go for super effective damage. There are two exceptions though. Trainers don't pick moves that your Pokemon is immune to for whatever reason, so just as an example, they won't go for Will-O-Wisp to try and burn a fire type Pokemon. The second exception is double battles. If somebody has a super effective move against you in a double battle, they're going to use it. Another thing we should talk about is a small optimization runners will use in battles. You can mash A or B after picking a move so that the target will start flashing and taking damage faster. Anyway, it's time to meet Professor Rowan at his lab in Sandgem Town. Give your Chimchar a one-letter name, then Lucas will show you around and teach you stuff you should already know if you're speedrunning this game. Head into the Pokemart and buy some potions. Go back home to let your mom know you're leaving for an adventure and move on. Oh, hello again, Lucas. Take a nap while he teaches you how to catch Pokemon. On the way to Jubilife City, you'll run into a Bidoof you need for HMs later on. This is also part of the RNG manip. You only encounter Pokemon you need to catch. You'll also catch a Starly soon to teach Fly. In Jubilife City, meet up with your rival Barry in the trainer school and hand him a package with 2 maps in them. Barry's a good guy though, so he gives you the one he doesn't need. Everybody leave a comment thanking Barry. He leaves, but you've got some unfinished business. Go fight these school kids in the corner. After beating them, they give you TM10 Hidden Power. It's a move that has a different type depending on your IVs. Get yourself a Poketch and meet Barry outside for another rival fight. For this run, Chimchar's Hidden Power is Grass type, which is fantastic because Grass is super effective against every type that Fire is weak to, namely Water, Ground, and Rock. A Fire-type Pokemon with Grass-type coverage is an awesome combo, and remember that we'll be teaching a Grass Knot later as well. Side note, I find it kind of funny that Crafted names his character I, because the text boxes will say stuff like, "I got 80 bucks for winning." Anyway, another effect of the RNG manip is that it allows you to dodge spinners, which are trainers who spin around somewhat randomly in the overworld. These are pretty annoying because if you have to fight them, that wastes a ton of time. At the end of the route, you run into and catch a Starly. This is going to be our flyer later on. Before you reach Oreburgh City, this fella gives you the HM for Rock Smash, which we teach to Bidoof a little later. Meet up with Roark and head back to fight him for your first gym badge. Geodude and Onix are rock and ground types with bad special defense going up against a Pokemon with a grass move, so as you probably guessed, they get obliterated. Then Cranidos is a 3-shot with a potion, and that's 1 gym battle in the books. After some shopping, it's back to Jubilife City. Team up with Lucas to take down some Team Galactic grunts. After the battle, Chimchar evolves into Monferno and learns the move Mach Punch. It's an increased priority fighting type move, which will come in handy in some battles moving forward. Now that you can use Rock Smash outside of battle, runners will teach it to Bidoof to get through the Ravaged Path and into Floroma Town. After getting rid of some more grunts north of town, you get the Works Key, which you use to get into the Vale Windworks. Inside is Commander Mars. After you beat her, it's on to Eterna Forest, where you meet with Cheryl and make your way through the forest together. On the way, you hit level 19 and learn Flame Wheel, a 60 power fire type move that can burn the target. As you might imagine, the forest spits you out in Pastoria City, where you go straight for the grass gym. Talk to some trees and eventually you'll make it to the gym leader Gardenia. You're a fire type in a grass gym, so as you'd probably guess, this fight goes great. Does anybody else find it weird though that a gym leader uses a starter Pokemon? Anyway, Roserade outspeeds you and can paralyze you, but that's why runners will equip a Cherry Berry. It's not a guaranteed one-shot once you're healthy unfortunately, but hey, what can you do? Gardenia gives you the TM for Grass Knot. It's a move that deals damage based on the target's weight. The heavier the Pokemon, the more damage they take. This is great because rock and ground types will take a ton of damage, thanks to being weak to grass and generally weighing a lot. We'll be seeing some Gyarados in this run as well, and this will be the best move for that as well, since it'll resist our fire and fighting moves. Hello Cynthia, thanks for the HM. In the herb shop, runners will buy heal powders, energy powders, and energy roots. They're basically potions and full heals, except cheaper. The drawback here is that they lower your Pokemon's friendship when you use them, but that doesn't come into play in this game, so it's all good. Catch me entering the Hall of Fame with a monkey who hates my guts. Now that you have Cut, teach it to Bidoof and get into the Team Galactic building. Upstairs, you fight Commander Jupiter. Take out her Zubat and Skuntank in 3 Flame Wheels. This doesn't happen in the world record, but you can get poisoned by Skuntank. If that happens, you actually shouldn't heal. This is the first generation where Pokemon cure themselves of poison at 1 HP instead of fainting, and you actually don't need more than 1 health for the upcoming section. Pick up the Thief TM outside and get the Explorer Kit and Bicycle before leaving town. Now runners will head down Cycling Road, taking a specific path to avoid trainers along the way. Hi Lucas, bye Lucas. In Heart Home City, you do what's known as a PC heal, where you put Monferno on the box for a split second, then immediately take him back out to heal him to full. This is faster than using the Pokemon Center, because there's a PC in the contest hall, which is somewhere you need to go anyway to advance the story and fight the Ghost Gym leader Fantina later on. Rival time. Barry's Prinplup won't be a one-shot, so you'll take some damage from Bubble. Let's just be thankful he doesn't have a stronger water move. His other Pokemon aren't a problem, and Crafted even one-shots Ponyta with a critical hit in the world record. Cool. We'll come back to fight Fantina later. Grab the Strength HM from the Lost Tower east of town, then it's time for the Bibarel Chansey Manip. First, you manipulate the Bibarel, catch it, put it at the front of your party, teach it Thief, teach Monferno Grass Knot, then encounter a Chansey. Use Bibarel's Thief to steal its Lucky Egg. Without manipulation, it's a 5% chance to get a Chansey, then a 5% chance afterwards that it has a Lucky Egg. So you're basically manipulating a 1 in 400 event. Once you give Monferno the Lucky Egg, it'll start gaining experience 50% faster than normal, which is great with how few optional battles you get to fight. Next stop is Veilstone City, where runners make a beeline for the department store. Today's shopping spree includes TM38 Fire Blast, X Attacks, X Defends, X Specials, and Super Repels, all for the low price of all your money. In the fighting gym, runners will teach Fire Blast over Mach Punch. It's a 120 power fire move with 85% accuracy. Not ideal, but it's tied for the strongest fire move we'll be using in terms of base power. By the time you get to Maylene, you'll want to be under 1/3 of your max health. That's because of the Chimchar line's ability Blaze, which powers up fire-type moves by 50% at low health. Outside the gym, team up with Lucas to take down 2 more Galactic Grunts. Inside the warehouse, you can pick up the HM for Fly. In Pastoria City, you do another PC heal while simultaneously putting Bidoof and Starly back in your party. Grab a hidden ether south of town, then head back to fight the water gym. I don't know about you guys, but this puzzle took me absolutely forever when I first played Platinum. Another thing about that playthrough is that I used a freaking Sea King on my team, which might make me the 9th or 10th person in the universe to ever do that outside of a Nuzlocke, maybe. Depending on how many battles you fought at this point, you might hit level 35 on the way to Crash or Wake. If you do, runners will use a rare candy to reach level 36 and evolve into Infernape. You also learn Close Combat at that level, which is a sexy 120 power, 100 accuracy fighting move. It also also lowers your defense and special defense by 1 stage each, but that's alright, you win some, you lose some. The strategy for this battle against Wake depends on whether you've evolved yet or not. We'll be taking a look at how you fight him as Infernape, but you can learn more about the Monferno version of the fight in the guide linked in the description. Against Gyarados, you actually start with a not very effective Flame Wheel, then you set up an X special to raise your special attack and go for a Grass Knot. The Flame Wheel was to make sure Wake wouldn't heal Gyarados. Quagsire and Floatzel go down in 1 Grass Knot each. This fight is a prime example of how great it is to have a fast fire type with a grass move. Wake's Pokemon had water and ground moves that you're weak to, but Grass Knot makes it a brand new ballgame. Now that you're an Infernape, there's a really handy trick to tell whether you're in Blaze range without actually doing the math every time. For the rest of the game, if your current HP is less than or equal to your level, you have Blaze. Awesome. Looks like Team Galactic's up to no good, and Barry wants to fight. He's not a problem at all. Follow the Team Galactic run until he gets sick of you and battles you. Luckily, he's a pushover. Teach Fly to Starly and head to Salacion Town. Take care of the little Psyduck problem, then head on to the worst route in the universe. Fortunately, in the world record, Starly knows to fog, so it's all good. Team Galactic is up to some nonsense in Celestic Town, so take care of them, and then get the HM for Surf. Hello, Cyrus. Goodbye, Cyrus. Back to Heart Home City to fight the Ghost Gym. Fantina's Driftblim knows Minimize, which raises its evasion, and it also has the ability Aftermath, which hurts you if you knock it out with a move that makes contact like Flame Wheel. Runners will actually take the Aftermath damage on purpose if they have enough health, because it can put them in Blaze range. If Aftermath would knock them out, they'd go for Fire Blast instead, since it's a special move that doesn't make contact. Depending on your level and power points, you might not be able to knock out Nismagius in one hit, and Gengar is also a range. For those of you who don't know, range is just a fancy way of saying that there's a chance you don't knock something out, because in Pokemon the exact amount of damage you do varies slightly every time you use a move. After the gym fight, teach Surf and Strength to Barrel, then fly back to Jubilife City and head west to Canalave City. You run into Barry on the bridge in the middle of town and it's time for another rival battle. Knock out Staraptor, then send in Bidoof as a meat shield for Prinplup. Runners do this because Staraptor's Intimidate ability lowers your attack, but switching out cancels the attack drop. He's also got a Heracross now, so that's neat. After approximately 1 million battles on the way through the Steel Gym, you make it to the leader, Byron, Roark's dad, which I think is pretty neat. Roark specializes in the Rock type, and Byron specializes in the Rock type Deluxe. This is a pretty easy fight since, you know, we're a fire and fighting type in a Steel Gym, so that's another gym badge in the books. Meet up with Lucas, Barry, and the professor at the library, then fly over to Pastoria City. Here at Lake Valor, you fight Commander Saturn. Next stop is Lake Verity, where you take out Commander Mars. Then runners will fly to Celestic Town and buy potions, escape ropes, revives, and repels. A small optimization here is that runners will buy 11 of everything except escape ropes, even though they don't need that many. That's because they'll need quite a few of each of them, but when you're shopping, it's actually faster to buy 11 of something instead of inputting the exact number you need, since you can add 10 to your purchase just by pressing right on the D-pad. Make your way through Mount Coronet and avoid as many trainers as you can on the upcoming routes. Obviously, battling extra trainers wastes time, but fights are especially slow here because of the hail. Every single battle, the game feels the need to remind you that it's hailing every single turn, which sucks, but hey, what can you do? You also take damage from the hail every turn, unfortunately, since you're not using an Ice-type Pokemon. Speaking of which, I think it'd be kinda neat to have a starter Pokemon that evolves into an Ice-type. On Route 2017, you'll find the HM for Rock Climb. We'll be needing this later to access the rest of Mount Coronet and get through Victory Road. Finally, you make it to Snowpoint City and challenge the Ice-type gym leader, Candace. Once again, Infernape has basically the perfect type combination to take on the Ice Gym, although you are going to take some hail damage along the way. Well, today I learned that Candace has a freaking Medicham for some reason in Diamond and Pearl. Sure, why not? I've only played Platinum before, so seeing a fighting Psychic type come out of nowhere in the Ice Gym threw me off. God, this game had some weird teams. Well, with that nonsense out of the way, the next stop is Lake Acuity, followed by Veilstone, where we need to go through Team Galactic HQ. There are some spots here where there are 2 Galactic grunts on either side of a hallway, which would normally put you into a double battle, but if you talk to the grunts one by one, you can fight them individually in single battles instead. Hello, Cyrus. Goodbye, Cyrus. Saturn is also here. Goodbye to you too. Fly back to Oreburgh City and make another trip through Mount Coronet. Eventually, make it to Mars, Jupiter, and Cyrus up top. Team up with Barry to take down the commanders, then move on to Cyrus. Beat him, then run away from Dialga. Now it's time for the final gym. This time it's Electric type specialist Volkner. On the way, Infernape will learn Flare Blitz. It's the same power as Fire Blast, but it has 100% accuracy. The one drawback though is that it deals recoil damage. Moving forward, you have to be careful about which Pokemon you use Flare Blitz on. There's a whole table with the exact Pokemon you should hit with the move in the document in the description, depending on your health and experience. So I won't be going over the exact strategies you use for the upcoming battle, since it varies pretty wildly. Oh, also, Volkner has an Ambipom and an Octillery! God, this game's Pokedex was horrible. Pachirisu is new to this generation, and Volkner doesn't use it for some reason. In the world record, Crafted actually uses Flare Blitz and dies intentionally against his final Pokemon, Luxray. This counts as a win because he has HM Pokemon in the back. Jasmine gives you the HM for Waterfall and you're ready for Victory Road. Make your way through and it's time for the Elite Four. I mean, it will be right after we take care of Barry. Are people still naming their kids Barry these days? Anyway, after the fight, you deposit all of your HM Pokemon except Bidoof and head in to fight the Elite Four. First up is Bug-type specialist Aaron. As you can probably imagine, you can obliterate most of his team with your fire moves. Drapion isn't a bug type and it knows Aerial Ace, but 'tis but a scratch as they say. Bertha is a pretty scary fight though, since she specializes in the ground type. Runners will use an X special to power up Grass Knot and use that move to take out her Pokemon. Whiscash can survive a Grass Knot and do big damage with Aqua Tail, and if it crits, you probably die. Next up is Flint's absolute turbo disaster of a team. He's a fire type specialist with wonderful fire type Pokemon like Lopunny, Steelix, and Driftwoom. Yep, there's only 2 fully evolved fire types in the Diamond and Pearl Pokedex, and one of them is Infernape, the freaking starter. This time, Runner set up an X attack and sweep most of his team with close combat. His Infernape can hit a Mach Punch though, which does a good chunk of damage since your defense is down a few stages. Driftwoom is a Ghost type though, which makes it immune to fighting type moves. So you have to go for Flare Blitz, which will knock Driftwoom out, but it'll also do aftermath damage to you. So once again, runners go for Flare Blitz and die to recoil to end the fight. But once again, you have Bidoof in your party, so you still win. Revive Infernape and move on to Lucian, the Psychic type trainer. Most of his Pokemon resist close combat, so you have to either go for the weaker Flame Wheel or take the recoil damage from Flare Blitz. Girafarig is neutral to fighting moves, so you can take it down with close combat, so that's nice at least. Finally, it's on to the Pokemon champion Cynthia. Spiritomb knows the move Silver Wind. It's bug type, so you double resist it, but it has a 10% chance of raising all its stats. You want to start the fight by setting up 2 X attacks, but in the 1% chance it gets the boost both times, you just have to take the 2-shot with Flare Blitz and Flame Wheel. Spiritomb also knows Embargo, which can prevent you from using items as seen in the world record. If that happens, you just have to start attacking it. This doesn't come up in the run, but it also knows Psychic, so you know, that's fun. Gastrodon and Melodic are both one-shots with close combat, but Garchomp can survive, in which case you can get hit by Earthquake and die. Roserade and Lucario are both weak to fire moves, so that's the game. If you didn't get the chance to set up X attacks, go for Flare Blitz on Roserade to get into Blaze range for Lucario, but if you did set up all your items, you can Flame Wheel them both. Well, there it is fellas, that's the Pokemon Diamond speedrun. Stay tuned because the next Pokemon video on the show will be Pokemon X and Y speedrunning with my friend Dash. Aside from that, I've also got something a little bit different in the works. I'm planning on making a world record progression video about the Rubik's Cube. That script is already done and there's some wild stuff to go over, so I hope you're looking forward to it. Alright, good night fellas, sleep well.